Millionaire heiress falls for man in restaurant, but when she discovers he's a garbage collector. Jennifer Wilson felt her heart race when his eyes met hers for the third time that evening. The man in the blue shirt sat alone 3 tables to head in the most exclusive restaurant in New York City, and there was something in his gaze that made her completely forget about the business dinner she was supposed to be paying attention to. "Jennifer, are you listening to me?" The irritated voice of Robert, her father's business partner, snapped her back to reality. "I'm sorry, Robert. Please, go on," she murmured, trying to focus on the conversation about expanding the family's hotel chain, but her eyes kept drifting back to the stranger. The man had striking features, dark skin, and a subtle smile that appeared when he spoke to the waiter. He wore a simple, well-pressed blue shirt and seemed completely at ease in the upscale setting. There was a natural elegance in his movements that deeply intrigued Jennifer. "The American group's proposal needs an answer by Friday," Robert continued, flipping through papers. "Your father trusts your judgment, Jennifer. After all, you're the heir to all of this." Jennifer nodded mechanically. At 27, she had inherited not only the Wilson family fortune, but also the responsibility of managing an empire that included hotels, restaurants, and real estate across the East Coast. It was a life of privilege she had never questioned, until the moment her eyes locked with those of a complete stranger. When Robert finally left, Jennifer pretended to finish her dessert, but she was really waiting for a chance to speak to the mysterious man. He had only ordered coffee and remained there, watching the restaurant's activity with a thoughtful expression. It was when the waiter brought the check that Jennifer saw him carefully count the bills before paying. The gesture revealed a financial concern that contrasted with his confident presence, which only deepened her curiosity. "Excuse me," Jennifer approached his table, her heart pounding. "I know this might seem strange, but I noticed you're alone, just like I was. Would you like to have a drink at the bar in the hotel next door?" The man looked surprised, then smiled in that way that had caught her attention from the start of the evening. "It would be my pleasure," he replied, standing politely. "My name is Michael Johnson." "Jennifer," she extended, her hand feeling an electric current when his fingers touched hers. "Jennifer Wilson." They walked to the bar at the Grand Plaza Hotel, one of the city's most luxurious, which happened to belong to Jennifer's family. She didn't mention that detail, preferring to keep the mystery surrounding their unexpected encounter. At the bar, they took a reserved table by the window overlooking the illuminated city. Michael ordered a simple beer while Jennifer chose an expensive California wine. The difference didn't escape her, but far from bothering her, it only fueled her curiosity. "Do you come to that restaurant often?" Jennifer asked, resting her chin on her hand as she watched him. "Actually, it was my first time," Michael laughed, running a hand over his short hair. "A friend gave me a birthday gift card, said I needed to see the place." "And what did you think?" "Too fancy for my taste," he admitted honestly. "But the company made up for it completely." Jennifer felt her face warm at the compliment. There was something about Michael's simplicity that fascinated her. He spoke directly, without the roundabout formalities she was used to in her family's social circles. "What about you?" Michael asked. "Seems like you're used to places like that." "More than I'd like," she answered truthfully. "Sometimes it's exhausting." "Exhausting how?" Jennifer hesitated. How could she explain to a stranger the weight of carrying a last name that opened every door, but also created distance with people? How could she talk about the loneliness of never knowing if someone was interested in her or what she represented financially? "It's complicated," she finally said. "What do you do for work, Michael?" It was his turn to hesitate. Michael stirred, his beer avoiding her gaze for a few seconds. "I work for the city government," he replied. Technically true, but omitting the details. "What department?" "Urban sanitation." Michael was vague, quickly changing the subject. "And you?" "Seems like you work in something that requires those formal dinners." "Family business administration." Jennifer also preferred to be discreet. "Hotels, mostly." They talked for 2 more hours, and Jennifer learned that Michael was 32, had a degree in business from a state university, loved baseball and literature, and had a sense of humor that made her laugh like she hadn't in months. He in turn was charmed by Jennifer's intelligence, her passion for art, and the affectionate way she spoke about her family. When the bar began to empty, Michael checked his watch. "It's late," he said. "I have to work early tomorrow." "What time do you start?" Jennifer asked. 5 in the morning, Michael replied, seeing the surprise on her face. "Yeah, I know, not a common time in your social circle, I imagine." "It's not that," Jennifer hurried to explain. "It's just 5 a.m. is really early." Michael smiled, but there was a hint of melancholy in his eyes. "Everyone has their own reality, right?" he said, signaling the waiter for the check. "I'll pay," Jennifer offered immediately. "No way," Michael said firmly, pulling money from his wallet. "The one who invites pays. That's how it's always been for me." Jennifer was touched by his attitude. In her world, men often expected her to pay, taking advantage of her financial status. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us newcomers. Now back to the story. Outside the hotel, they stood on the sidewalk, neither wanting to say goodbye. "Would you like to see each other again?" Jennifer asked, surprising herself with her own courage. "I'd love to," Michael replied instantly. "But maybe somewhere more simple." "Of course, you pick." "Do you know Washington Square Park? There's a diner nearby with the best hot dogs in town. How about Saturday afternoon?" Jennifer smiled. It had been years since she'd eaten at a diner. "Perfect. 2 o'clock?" 2 o'clock. Michael waited while she called her private driver. When the black limousine arrived, she saw the surprise on his face, but he made no comment. "See you Saturday, Jennifer," he said, kissing her hand gently. "See you Saturday, Michael." On the way home, Jennifer couldn't stop smiling. There was something about Michael that made her feel different, lighter. Maybe it was the way he looked at her, as if he was really seeing her, not the last name or the bank account. Arriving at her penthouse in the Upper East Side, she found her mother, Catherine Wilson, waiting in the living room with a worried expression. "Where were you, Jennifer? Robert called saying you left the dinner in a strange way." "I went for a drink, Mom, no big deal." "With whom?" Catherine got straight to the point. At 55, she had learned to be suspicious when it came to her daughter's friendships. "A man I met at the restaurant." "What do you mean, met?" "Jennifer, you know you can't just go out with anyone. Our social position requires caution." Jennifer sighed. It was always the same conversation. "He seems like a decent person, Mom." "Seems isn't enough, you know that. How many times have people tried to take advantage of you?" Jennifer remembered Brian, her last boyfriend, who had tried to convince her to invest in a shady business. And before him, Ryan, who had sold intimate photos of the two to a gossip magazine. The list was long and painful. "This one is different," she said, more to herself than to her mother. "That's what you always say," Catherine replied sadly. "Sweetheart, I just want to protect you. You're too generous, too trusting. People take advantage of that." "I can take care of myself, Mom." "Oh, really? Like when you lent $50,000 to that artist who said he was in love with you?" Jennifer chose not to answer. She went up to her room but couldn't sleep. She thought about Michael, how he had insisted on paying the bill, the simplicity of his clothes, the honesty in his eyes. The next morning, during family breakfast, her father, William Wilson, was reading the financial papers when he looked up at his daughter. "Robert told me you left yesterday without finishing the meeting. That can't happen, Jennifer. We're negotiating million-dollar contracts." "I'm sorry, Dad. It won't happen again. I hope not. And another thing. Your mother told me you met someone. I want our private investigator to run a background check before you see him again." "Dad," Jennifer protested, "that's an invasion of privacy." "It's protection, sweetheart. How many times have we been through embarrassing situations? Remember? What happened to your cousin Ashley?" Jennifer remembered perfectly. Ashley had married a man who, they later found out, was already married to 2 other women and was only after the family fortune. "This is different," she insisted. "Why do you think that?" William asked, taking off his glasses and looking at her seriously. Because he didn't know who I was when we met, and he insisted on paying his own bill even when I offered." William and Catherine exchanged skeptical glances. Sweetheart, William sighed. You're too naive. These people study our family. They know exactly how to act to gain your trust. These people, Jennifer snapped. You haven't even met Michael and you're already judging him. Michael who? Catherine asked immediately. What's his last name? Johnson. Johnson? William repeated. Jennifer, Johnson is the most common last name in America. That's already suspicious. You're being ridiculous, Jennifer said, standing up from the table. I'm getting ready for work. In the days leading up to Saturday, Jennifer could barely focus on her tasks at the company. She reviewed contracts, thinking about Michael, sat in meetings, imagining what it would be like to see him again. She was so excited that even her assistant, Sarah, noticed her good mood. You seem different this week, Sarah observed as they organized the schedule. Happier. Do I? Jennifer smiled. Maybe it's because the weekend's coming. Any special plans for Saturday? Just lunch out, Jennifer replied, avoiding details. Sarah, who had worked for the family for 15 years, knew Jennifer well enough to sense there was more to it. But she respected her boss's privacy and didn't push further. On Friday night, Jennifer was picking out what to wear for the date when her mother walked into her room. Sweetheart, your father hired the investigator. We'll have the report. On this, Michael, by Monday. Mom! Jennifer turned furious. I asked you not to do this. It's for your protection. If he's an honest man, there's no harm done. And if I find out you did this, I'll be really angry. Jennifer, you're our only daughter. Everything we have will be yours someday. We can't risk having ill-intentioned people take advantage of you. You talk as if I were a child, Jennifer sighed, sitting on the bed. It's not that. You're smart and capable. But when it comes to relationships, you always choose people who aren't suitable for our family. Suitable, Jennifer repeated. What criteria do you use to determine that? Social status, education, financial stability, family background, Catherine listed. These are basic standards, dear. And what if someone doesn't have money but is honest and hardworking? Jennifer, you know how the world works. Big social differences cause problems. It's better to avoid them. Jennifer lay down, staring at the ceiling. She knew her parents loved her and wanted to protect her, but sometimes she felt like a prisoner of her own social standing. Every man she met in her circle was either opportunistic or a snob. Michael had been the first person in years to treat her like a normal woman, not a millionaire heiress. On Saturday morning, she woke up early and chose a more casual look. Jeans, a simple blouse and sneakers. She wanted to fit in with the setting Michael had suggested. She left the house telling her mother she was going to the mall, a lie that had become necessary to avoid more questions. She arrived at Washington Square Park 15 minutes early. The place was lively, with families strolling, children playing, and elderly men playing chess. It was a world away from the places she usually frequented, but there was something comforting about its simplicity. Michael arrived right at 2 o'clock, wearing jeans and a navy blue polo shirt. He smiled when he saw her, and Jennifer felt that flutter in her stomach again. You look beautiful, he said, kissing her cheek. Do you like the place? It's perfect, she replied honestly. I haven't been to a park like this in years. Really? Michael seemed surprised. Where do you usually spend your weekends? Clubs, restaurants, social events, she explained. Always more formal places. I get it. Must be exhausting not being able to relax. They walked to the diner he'd mentioned. It was a simple place, but clean and welcoming, with formica tables and a handwritten menu on the wall. Jennifer had never been anywhere like it, but she found it charming. 2 hot dogs and 2 orange juices, Michael ordered from the diner owner, a friendly man who greeted him by name. Michael, my boy, long time no see, the man said cheerfully. Who's the pretty lady? This is Jennifer, Mr. Frank. Jennifer, this is Frank. He makes the best hot dogs around. Nice to meet you, Mr. Frank, Jennifer said, extending her hand. The man seemed surprised by her politeness, but shook it warmly. Michael is a special young man, Frank told Jennifer. Always helps everyone around here. Is that so? Jennifer looked at Michael, curious. Frank exaggerates, Michael laughed, clearly embarrassed. I don't exaggerate at all, Frank insisted. When my grandson got sick and I had to close the Dinah to take him to the hospital, Michael organized a fundraiser in the neighborhood to help with the bills. Jennifer looked at Michael with admiration. There was a natural generosity in him that touched her deeply. They sat at a table by the window, and Jennifer took a bite of the hot dog. It was truly delicious, crispy on the outside and juicy inside. "Frank was right," she said. "It's amazing." "You seem surprised," Michael observed. "It's just, I usually eat at different places." "More upscale?" "Yes, but this place has something special. It's more genuine." Michael smiled, pleased. She was enjoying the experience. "Tell me more about yourself," Jennifer asked. "Yesterday we barely talked about your life. What do you want to know? Family, dreams, what you like to do in your free time." Michael took a sip of his orange juice before answering. "I live with my mother, Mrs. Ruth. My father passed away when I was 15. She's a seamstress, and I help with the household expenses." "I'm so sorry about your father." "Thank you. It was hard, but it made us stronger. My mother is an incredible woman. She works so hard to give me an education." "You mentioned you have a degree in business administration." "Yes. I graduated 5 years ago. I studied at night while working during the day." "And now you work for the city government?" Michael hesitated again, stirring his hot dog. "Yeah, in the sanitation department." "That must be important work for the city." "It is. Someone's got to keep the streets clean, right?" He laughed, but there was a defensive edge to his voice. Jennifer noticed the shift, but didn't press. She changed the subject and asked about his dreams. "I've always wanted to run my own business," Michael admitted. "Maybe a cleaning company or even managing a small establishment. But for now, I need to help my mom and save up." "It's admirable how you take care of your family," Jennifer said sincerely. "What about you? What are your dreams?" The question caught Jennifer off guard. It had been so long since anyone asked about her personal dreams, just the company's plans. "I always wanted to travel the world, experience different cultures, learn languages, maybe even do volunteer work somewhere." "Why don't you?" "It's complicated. I have responsibilities with the family business." "But what about your own dreams?" "Sometimes they take a back seat," she admitted sadly. Michael studied her closely. There was a melancholy in her eyes he hadn't noticed before. "Maybe you should fight harder for what you want," he said gently. "It's easy to say when you don't have others depending on you. You think your family wouldn't understand? My parents have a very specific idea of what's suitable for me. They want me to marry someone from our social circle and take over the family business completely." "And is that what you want?" Jennifer took a moment to answer. It was the first time anyone had asked her so directly. "I don't know anymore," she confessed. "Sometimes I feel like I'm living the life others planned for me." "It's never too late to change course," Michael said. "You're still young." "You make it sound simple." "It's not simple, but maybe it's necessary." They spent the afternoon talking about dreams, fears, and expectations. Jennifer felt more at ease with Michael by the minute. He listened without judgment and offered perspectives she'd never considered. As the sun began to set, they walked hand in hand through Washington Square Park. Jennifer couldn't remember the last time she'd done something so simple and enjoyable. "Can I take you home?" Michael asked as they reached the park exit. Jennifer hesitated. Her apartment was in one of the city's most expensive neighborhoods, and she didn't want Michael to feel intimidated or uncomfortable. "You don't have to. I can take a cab." "Jennifer, what kind of man would I be if I let you go home alone? My mother would kill me if she found out." "All right," she relented, "but fair warning, I live a bit far." "No problem. My bike can handle the ride." "Bike?" Jennifer couldn't hide her surprise. "Yeah, why is that a problem?" "No, of course not. It's just, I've never ridden a bike before." Michael smiled. "First time for everything, right? Do you trust me?" Jennifer looked into his eyes and saw only sincerity. "I do." Michael retrieved his bike parked near the park. It was an older Harley, but well kept. He handed Jennifer a helmet and patiently explained how she should position herself. "You can hold on to my waist," and he said, "You'll feel more secure." When Jennifer wrapped her arms around Michael's waist, a shiver ran through her, one that had nothing to do with the wind. There was an intimacy in that gesture that made her feel connected to him in a way she hadn't expected. During the ride, she saw the city from a completely new perspective. In the car, she was always isolated behind tinted windows, but on the motorcycle, she felt the movement of the streets, heard the sounds of the city, smelled the scents. It was a liberating experience. When they arrived at the building where Jennifer lived, Michael stopped and looked in awe at the over 40-story glass-fronted building with its imposing entrance. "You live here?" he asked, clearly surprised. "On the top floor," she replied, getting off the motorcycle. Michael watched the uniformed doormen bustling about, the marble entrance, the luxury cars parked outside. It was a world completely different from his. "Jennifer," he said hesitantly, "can I ask you something?" "Of course." Does your family have a lot of money?" Jennifer felt her stomach tighten. This was the moment that always came, when people found out about her financial situation and everything changed. "Why do you ask?" "It's just, this place looks really expensive, and yesterday, that limousine." "My family is financially comfortable," she said, trying to downplay it. Michael stayed silent for a few seconds, processing the information. "Comfortable? How?" he pressed. Jennifer sighed. She knew she couldn't lie forever. "My parents own a chain of hotels. We're financially well off." "Millionaires?" Michael asked bluntly. "Yes," she admitted softly. Michael ran a hand over his face, visibly disturbed by the revelation. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I wanted you to know me for who I am, not what I have." "Jennifer, this changes everything." "Why?" She stepped closer to him. "I'm the same person I was yesterday, this afternoon. Nothing's changed." "It has. We're from completely different worlds." "So what? Does that matter?" Michael looked at her, then at the luxurious building, then back at her. "It matters more than you think," he said sadly. "You're the heir to an empire. You're what?" Jennifer asked when he didn't finish. "I'm just a garbage collector, Jennifer. I clean the city streets. I don't work for the city government like I let you believe. I'm a garbage collector." The silence between them was deafening. Jennifer wasn't shocked by his profession, but by the fact he had hidden the truth. "Why did you lie?" she asked. "For the same reason you hid the truth about your family. I wanted you to know me for who I am, not judge me by my job." "I wouldn't judge you." "Really?" Michael laughed bitterly. "Look where you live, Jennifer. Look at the diner where we met. You live in a world where people like me only exist to serve people like you." "That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you talked to a garbage collector, or a cleaner, or anyone outside your social circle?" Jennifer had no answer because he was right. Before meeting him, she'd never interacted with people from different social classes. "Michael, this doesn't change how I feel about you." "It doesn't now, but it will. When you really think about it, when your family finds out, when your friends know, it'll change." "You're being unfair." "I'm being realistic." Michael got back on the motorcycle and started the engine. "Thanks for the special moments, Jennifer, but it's better if we both go back to our own worlds." "Michael, wait!" she called out, but he was already gone. Jennifer stood on the sidewalk, watching his motorcycle disappear into traffic. She felt confused, hurt, and frustrated. Everything had happened so fast, she could barely process it. She went up to her apartment in shock. Her mother was waiting, in the living room as usual. "How was your ride?" Catherine asked, noticing her daughter's downcast expression. "It was eye-opening," Jennifer replied, heading straight to her room. "Did something happen?" "Nothing major, Mom. I just found out people are more complicated than I thought." On Monday morning, William Wilson called Jennifer into his office before she started her shift. "Honey, we have the report on that Michael Johnson fellow." Jennifer stiffened in her chair. "I don't want to know." "You'd better know." Michael Johnson, 32 years old, a garbage collector for the New York City government, lives in a rented apartment in Queens with his mother, Ruth Johnson, a seamstress. Father passed away from heart problems when he was 15, has a degree in business from a state university, but has been working as a garbage collector for 7 years. Jennifer listened in silence, feeling her heart tighten. No police record, no significant debts. but also no assets. Earns minimum wage and a half. Are you done? Jennifer asked coldly. Jennifer, do you understand now why we're concerned? This man lives in a reality completely different from yours. So what? So what? William raised his voice. Honey, you two have nothing in common. It's a matter of a huge social gap. Dad, I like him. You think you do, but think about it. What would you two do together? Where would you go? How would he feel at our family events? How would you feel in his world? I don't know because we haven't had the chance to find out. You have, and from what your mother told me, you came home upset yesterday. That proves problems are already starting. Jennifer stood up from her chair. The problem started because we both lied to each other, me about my financial situation, him about his job. He lied? William perked up. About what? He let me believe he worked in city government administration. He already lied to impress you. It's always like this, honey. It wasn't to impress me, it was out of shame. Being ashamed of your own job isn't a good sign. Jennifer sighed, frustrated. She knew it would be useless to try to convince her father. Can I go to work now? You can, but promise me you'll think about what we talked about? I promise. Over the next few days, Jennifer tried to focus on work, but she couldn't stop thinking about Michael. The way he had reacted upon learning about her family deeply troubled her. Was he right? Was the social gap between them really insurmountable? On Thursday, during lunch, she met up with her friend Samantha, whom she'd gone to college with. You've been acting strange this week, Samantha observed. Did something happen? I met someone, Jennifer confessed. That's great. How long has it been since you've been interested in anyone? Who is he? It's complicated. Why, is he married? No, he's from a different social class. Samantha stopped eating and looked at her friend. What do you mean, different social class? He's a garbage collector. A garbage collector, Samantha repeated, incredulous. Jennifer, are you joking? I'm not. But how did you meet? At a restaurant. A garbage collector at an expensive restaurant? That doesn't make sense. Jennifer told her friend the whole story, from their first meeting to the revelation of both their jobs. Jennifer, Samantha said when she finished, you're romanticizing this too much. What do you mean? You're going through a rebellious phase and fell in love with the idea of a forbidden romance. But think rationally. You two have nothing in common. We do. We talk about books, dreams, family. You talked about generalities. But think about everyday life. He earns in a month what you spend in one afternoon shopping. How would that work? Money isn't everything. It's not everything, but it's important. Jennifer, would you go to the same places? Would you have the same friends? Would he feel comfortable at your family's events? Maybe not at first, but over time. Over time, he'd feel inferior, and you'd feel limited. That's how these relationships end. Jennifer was irritated by her friend's comments, but deep down she knew the woman was expressing what many people would think. You're being prejudiced. I'm not being prejudiced, I'm being realistic. Jennifer, you can help this man in other ways, maybe offer him a better job opportunity at your family's company. Do you think he'd accept charity? It wouldn't be charity, it'd be an opportunity. And you don't think he'd realize it's because of our relationship? Samantha sighed. Jennifer, you're complicating something that could be simple. If you truly care about him, help him improve his life. But a relationship between you two it's impractical. That night, Jennifer couldn't sleep. Samantha's words echoed in her mind, mingling with those of her parents and Michael. Everyone seemed to agree that a relationship between them was impossible. By Friday, she made a decision that surprised even herself. She took her car and drove to the area where Michael had said he lived. She wanted to see him again, talk to him, understand if there really was no chance for them to try. She asked several people until she found someone who knew Michael Johnson, the garbage collector. An elderly woman pointed out the building where he lived. "Third floor, apartment 304, she said. But I think he's already left for work. That boy leaves very early. Jennifer checked her watch. It was 9 in the morning. She decided to wait at a nearby diner, hoping he'd return for lunch. At 11:30, she saw Michael stepping off a garbage truck at the corner. He wore a city government uniform and work gloves. Sweat glistened on his face, and his clothes were dirty. Jennifer felt a pang in her chest, not because of his job, but because she saw how hard he worked to live with dignity. Seeing him in that context made her admire him even more. Michael entered his building, and Jennifer decided to wait a few minutes before going up. She wanted to give him time to clean up. When she rang the bell for apartment 304, a middle-aged woman answered the door. It was Ruth Johnson, Michael's mother, a kind woman with gentle eyes and graying hair. "Can I help you?" Ruth asked. "My name is Jennifer. I'd like to speak with Michael." "Jennifer?" Ruth broke into a smile. "You're the girl my son met." "He talked about me." "Oh yes, come in, come in. Michael's showering, but he'll be done soon." The apartment was small but well kept. It had 2 bedrooms, a living room, kitchen and bathroom. Everything was simple but clean and tidy. On the walls were photos of Michael at different stages of life and framed diplomas. "Sit down, dear," Ruth offered. "Would you like some coffee?" "Please." Ruth brought coffee in delicate porcelain cups, clearly among the few valuable possessions the family owned. "Michael was very sad after meeting you," Ruth remarked as she poured the coffee. "Did he tell you what happened?" "He said you're from very different worlds and that it wouldn't work out." "And do you agree with him?" Ruth grew thoughtful before answering. "Look, dear, I raised my son to be honest and hard-working. He's a good boy, studious, respectful, but I also know life is complicated." "How so?" "Michael has always worked hard to make me proud. Studied at night, worked during the day, graduated from state university. But the job market is tough, and he ended up staying with the city government job. There's nothing wrong with that. I know. And he knows too. But sometimes I notice he feels inferior, like he hasn't lived up to his full potential. He should be proud of what he's achieved. He should. But when you came into his life, I think it shook his confidence." "How so?" "Michael has always dated girls from our social background, simple working-class girls. With you, he faced something he never thought he could have. But he could have it if he wanted to." Ruth smiled sadly. "Sweetheart, you're a beautiful, well-mannered young woman. And from what I can tell, from a very well-off family, Michael doesn't want to be seen as someone who's with you out of interest. But he isn't. He didn't even know who I was at first." "I know. And that made him even more confused." Just then, Michael walked out of the bedroom, wearing jeans and a clean t-shirt. He stopped in surprise when he saw Jennifer in his living room. "Jennifer, what are you doing here?" "I came to talk to you." "We have nothing to talk about." "Yes, we do." She stood up. "A lot, actually." Ruth sensed the tension and excused herself diplomatically. "I'll go to the market," she said. "Make yourselves at home." When they were alone, Michael sat in the armchair across from the sofa where Jennifer was. "How did you find me?" I asked around. It wasn't hard. "Jennifer, I already explained. We're from different worlds. You're using that as an excuse." "An excuse for what?" "To run away from what you feel for me." Michael looked away. "What I feel doesn't matter." "Of course it does. It's the only thing that matters." "No, it's not. There are other things to consider." "Like what?" "Like the fact that your family will never accept me. Like the fact that your friends will look at me like I'm some kind of alien. Like the fact that I'll never be able to give you the kind of life you're used to." "Who said I want the kind of life I'm used to?" "Jennifer, you don't even know what my life is really like." "Then show me." Michael looked at her surprised. "What do you mean?" "Show me your life. I want to see your world, your struggles, your friends. I want to understand who you really are." "Why?" "Because I care about you. Because for the past week, I haven't been able to stop thinking about what I felt when we were together." Michael was silent for a long moment. "Jennifer, if I show you my life and you realize we really are incompatible, do you promise to accept it and not push anymore?" "And if I realize we're not incompatible?" "Then we'll talk about it." "Okay, that's fair," Michael sighed. "All right, but you'll see my real life. No filters, no sugarcoating. If at any point you want to leave, you can go. Deal?" "Tomorrow's Saturday. If you're serious about this, meet me here at 5 in the morning." 5 in the morning? Jennifer repeated. Yeah, my shift starts at 5:30. If you want to know my life, you have to know my routine. I'll be here at 5. Michael walked her to the door. Jennifer, are you sure about this? I am. You'll have to wake up at 4 in the morning. I'll wake up at 4 and wear old clothes. Where we're going isn't a place for expensive outfits. I'll wear old clothes. Michael looked her in the eyes. Why are you doing this? Because I believe what we feel is worth fighting. 4. The next morning, Jennifer woke up at 4 as promised. She put on old jeans, worn-out sneakers, and a simple blouse. She wore no makeup and tied her hair in a ponytail. She drove to Michael's apartment in the dark, the streets empty. When she arrived at his building, she saw him waiting on the sidewalk with a backpack. I didn't think you'd come, he admitted. I always keep my promises. We'll have to take the bus, my bike's broken. That's fine. The bus stop was 2 blocks away. As they walked in the cold dawn, Michael explained his routine. I work with a team of 3 others. Our section is responsible for cleaning 12 blocks downtown. We start at 5:30 and finish at 2 in the afternoon. And after? Then I go home, have lunch, rest a bit. 3 times a week I take night classes. What kind of classes? Public administration. I'm trying to qualify for a promotion or a better job. The bus arrived packed with workers who, like Michael, started their day early. Jennifer watched the people, housekeepers, security guards, laborers, all with the tired expressions of those who wake before sunrise. This is my reality every day, Michael said quietly. 5 in the morning, packed bus, hard work. During the ride to the city center, Jennifer looked out the window at the still empty streets. The first shopkeepers opening their businesses, the homeless sleeping on the sidewalks. It was a New York City she had never seen before. They got off near the Central Market. Michael took Jennifer to a city government warehouse where the garbage collectors gathered to receive equipment and instructions. Everyone, this is Jennifer, Michael introduced. She's joining us today for a college research project. Michael's co-workers greeted her politely. They were men of different ages, some younger, others already graying. First time. Seeing garbage collectors at work? Asked Terence, a 50-year-old man who had worked with Michael for 3 years. First time, Jennifer replied. You'll see it's no walk in the park, joked Brandon, a young guy studying at night to become a nurse. All right, folks, let's get started, said the supervisor, handing out brooms, shovels, and plastic bags to the team. Jennifer followed the group through the streets of the historic district. She watched as they worked methodically, sweeping sidewalks, picking up trash, cleaning gutters. It was hard work, especially as the sun began to heat up. Want to give it a try? Michael offered the broom. May I? Of course. Jennifer took the broom and tried sweeping a sidewalk. Within minutes, her hands began to ache, and she realized how physically demanding it was. It's harder than it looks, she remarked. And this is the easy part, Terence laughed. Wait till it's time to haul the trash bags. Throughout the morning, Jennifer talked with Michael's co-workers and discovered inspiring stories. Brandon was studying nursing at night while supporting his pregnant wife. Terence had raised 3 kids on a garbage collector's salary, and all of them were now in college. Robert, the oldest in the group, had worked for the city government for 20 years and was respected by everyone. Michael's the brains of the group, Terence explained. Always reading, always studying. We joke that one day he'll be our boss. Don't exaggerate, Terence, Michael said, embarrassed. I'm not exaggerating at all. You've got a degree, you take courses, you know your stuff. It's just a matter of time. At 9 in the morning, they stopped for breakfast at a simple diner. Jennifer insisted on paying for everyone, a gesture met with gratitude and a bit of surprise. You're not what I expected, Robert commented. Thought you'd be more snobby. Why did you think that? Michael said you go to a private college, live in a fancy neighborhood. Usually folks like that don't mix with us. Maybe because they've never had the chance to get to know you. Could be, Robert agreed. But it's rare to find someone like you who doesn't make a difference. During lunch at a nearby casual restaurant, Jennifer observed the group's dynamic. They treated each other like family, helping one another, sharing worries and dreams. Do you like what you do? She asked. Like is a strong word, Brandon laughed. But we respect our work. It's honest, it's necessary, and it lets us provide for our families. What about you, Michael? Jennifer looked at him directly. He hesitated. Always wanted to work in administration, but for now this job gives me stability. And I learn a lot about urban management here. Michael's always coming up with ways to improve our work, Terence said. Last week he suggested a route change that saved us 2 hours a day. Really? It's just logistics, Michael explained. Business school has to be good for something. In the afternoon, when the workday ended, Michael took Jennifer to see the neighborhood where he lived. They walked through the streets of Queens, passing by modest homes, local shops, and children playing outside. This is my world, Michael said. It's simple, but it's honest. It's a beautiful world, Jennifer replied sincerely. You're just being polite. I'm not. There's a sense of community here that doesn't exist in my world. People know each other, help each other, care about one another. They stopped at a diner where Michael was known by everyone. The owner, Tony, greeted him warmly and offered coffee and donuts to both of them. Michael is a good man, Tony told Jennifer. He always helps when I need to move stock, never asks for anything in return. I can imagine, Jennifer smiled. And you, young lady, are you his girlfriend? We're still getting to know each other, Michael answered quickly. On their way back home, while waiting for the bus, Jennifer reflected on everything she had seen. So what did you think? Michael asked. About what? About my life. About the difference between our worlds. I think you were right, she said, surprising him. How so? Our worlds really are very different. Michael felt his chest tighten. So you understand why it can't work? I understand why you think it can't work, but I disagree with your conclusion. How can you disagree? You saw how I live. I did. And I also saw a man of integrity, hard-working, respected by his colleagues, and loved by his community. I saw someone who strives to improve, who takes care of his mother, who dreams of a better future. But you also saw that I'm a garbage collector who lives in a rented apartment and rides the bus. So what? Jennifer turned to face him. Michael, do you want to know the biggest difference I noticed between our worlds? What? In my world, people pretend to be happy. In your world, people are genuinely happy. Michael was taken aback by her answer. Jennifer, your friends from work have dreams, fight for them, support each other. In my life, people compete, lie, betray each other for money and status. You're romanticizing it. I'm being realistic. Michael, today was one of the best days I've had in a long time. But you can't live like this forever. Why not? Because you're used to luxury, to comfort. What if I told you I'm willing to give up some of that? You say that now, but later. Michael, stop deciding for me how I'll feel in the future. The bus arrived and they boarded in silence. During the ride, Jennifer thought about everything she had experienced that day. She had truly enjoyed the simplicity, the honesty, the sense of community she had found. When they got off near Michael's apartment, he walked her to her car. Jennifer, I need to ask you something. What? Are you really willing to have a relationship with me, knowing all the difficulties it will bring? I am. Your family will be against it. I'll handle that. Your friends will criticize you. Then they're not real friends. You'll have to give up a lot of things. Or maybe I'll gain something more important. Michael looked at her intently. Are you sure? I am. And you? Are you willing to try? I'm terrified, he admitted. Of what? That I won't be able to make you happy. That you'll regret it. That I won't be enough for you. Jennifer stepped closer and took his hands. Michael, you make me happy. Happier than any wealthy, polished man I've ever been with. You make me want to be a better person, even knowing our life would be simple, especially because of that. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us newcomers. Now continuing, Michael kissed her softly, a kiss full of hope and fear at the same time. Then let's try it, he said. But promise you'll be honest with me if you ever regret it? I promise. And you promise you won't run away at the first sign of trouble? I promise, The following Sunday, Jennifer took Michael to meet her parents. She had mentioned bringing someone special to the family lunch, but hadn't given any details about who it was. Michael wore his best outfit: dress pants, a button-up shirt, and shoes he'd bought for graduations and weddings. He was visibly nervous on the way to the Wilsons' home in a luxury gated community. "Are you sure about this?" he asked for the 10th time. "I am. My parents are polite people. They'll treat you well." Polite, but not necessarily welcoming. "Leave it to me." The Wilson home was a 2-story mansion with an expansive garden, a pool, and a recreation area. Michael was stunned by the size and luxury of the property. "My God, Jennifer, this is a mansion. It's the house I grew up in. Now I understand why your parents are concerned." They were greeted by a uniformed maid who led them to the living room. William and Catherine Wilson were waiting, clearly curious to meet the man who had captured their daughter's attention. "Dad, Mom, this is Michael." "Michael, these are my parents, William and Catherine." Michael stepped forward politely, shaking William's hand firmly and kissing Catherine on the cheek. "Very nice to meet you," he said. "Jennifer talks about you, both a lot." "The pleasure is ours," William replied, discreetly sizing Michael up. "Please have a seat." For the first few minutes, the conversation was polite but tense. William asked about Michael's education, and he answered honestly about attending a state university and the technical course he was taking. "And professionally?" William probed. "Jennifer mentioned you work for the city government." "Yes, sir, in the sanitation department." "Ah," William paused. "And do you have plans to advance in your career?" "Always, sir. I'm taking certification courses and applying for other opportunities." Catherine watched Michael closely, noting his manners, respectful posture, but also the simplicity of his clothes and accessories. "Michael," she said, "tell us about your family." "I live with my mother, Mrs. Ruth. She's a seamstress. My father passed away when I was a teenager." "I'm sorry," Catherine said sincerely. "Thank you. It was hard. But my mother always encouraged me to study and work honestly." During lunch, served on a 12-seat dining table with porcelain dishes and silverware, Michael made an effort not to show discomfort, though it was clear he was out of his usual environment. "Michael," William said midway through the meal, "can I be direct with you?" "Of course, sir. What are your intentions with my daughter?" "Dad!" Jennifer protested. "It's all right, Jennifer," Michael said calmly. "Mr. William, my intentions are to get to know your daughter better if she allows it. She's an extraordinary woman, intelligent and kind." "And financially," William pressed. "How do you plan to support her?" "Dad," Jennifer raised her voice, "that's unnecessary." "No, Jennifer. Your father has every right to ask," Michael said. "Mr. William, I earn minimum wage and a half. I can't give Jennifer the luxury she's close to, but I can offer honesty, dedication, and a lot of love." William and Catherine exchanged meaningful glances. "Michael," Catherine said gently, "you seem like a young man of good character, but you must understand our concern. Jennifer was raised in a very different environment from yours." "I understand completely, Mrs. Catherine. That's exactly why. I hesitated for so long before agreeing to a relationship with her." "Then why did you agree?" William asked. "Because your daughter convinced me it was worth trying, and because I believe true love can overcome social differences." "Very romantic," William said with a slightly ironic tone. "But real life isn't a movie, Michael." "I know, sir. I've been working since I was 15. I know exactly how hard real life is." After lunch, William asked to speak with Michael, privately in the office. Jennifer grew nervous, but Michael agreed to the conversation. "Michael," William said when they were alone, "I'll be frank with you. Please, sir, you seem like a good young man, polite, hardworking, respectful, but the social gap between you two is very wide." "I know. Do you really?" "Jennifer will inherit a fortune of over $20 million. She's used to international trips, expensive restaurants, high society events. Will you be able to provide that for her?" "No, sir, I won't." "And will she be happy giving all that up?" "I don't know, sir. Only time will tell." "Michael, can I make you an offer?" "Of course. I own several businesses. I can offer you a better position. Manager at one of my hotels, for example. The salary would be 10 times what you earn now." Michael was silent. For a few seconds, Mr. William, is this offer because of my relationship with Jennifer? It would help balance your situations. I understand, but I have to refuse. Why? Because I don't want Jennifer or me to ever wonder if we're together for love or convenience. If I get a promotion or a better job, it should be because of my own merit, not my personal life. William was surprised by the answer. Is that pride or principle? Principle, sir. I was raised to earn things through my own work, even knowing it'll make your relationship much harder. Mr. William, if Jennifer truly loves me, she'll accept our financial limits. If she can't, it's better we find out now. And if she regrets it in the future, then she'll be free to leave me. William studied Michael closely. There was an integrity in the young man that impressed him, even if he disagreed. Michael, can I give you some advice? Of course. Don't stop striving for professional growth. Jennifer deserves an ambitious man who fights for a better life. I completely agree, sir, and I plan to keep studying and working hard. Good. Let's go back before the women think I'm threatening you. When they returned to the living room, Jennifer was anxious. How did it go? She whispered to Michael. Your father is a wise man, Michael replied diplomatically. As they said goodbye, William shook Michael's hand firmly. It was a pleasure meeting you, son. Take good care of my daughter. You can count on it, sir. Catherine hugged Michael warmly. You're welcome here anytime. Thank you, Mrs. Catherine. And thank you for your hospitality. In the car on the way home, Jennifer was thrilled. That went better than I expected, she said. My parents liked you. Your parents were very polite, Michael corrected, but I sensed their concern. That's normal. They'll get used to it in time. Jennifer, your father made me an offer. What kind of offer? Michael told her about the job he'd turned down. Why did you refuse? Jennifer was surprised. Because I don't want to mix our personal relationship with professional opportunities. But it could have been a chance for a better life. A better life because of you. I want to improve my life because of me. Jennifer was moved by his stance. Michael, you're a man of principles. I hope you won't regret those principles someday. In the weeks that followed, Jennifer and Michael tried to build a routine as a couple. She started going to simpler places, met his friends, and joined rooftop barbecues at his apartment building. Michael, on the other hand, accompanied Jennifer to some social events, always uncomfortable but trying his best to adapt. The first major crisis came when Jennifer was invited to the wedding of a key client's daughter from her family's company. It was an extremely sophisticated affair with millionaire guests, business people, and politicians. I don't know if I should go, Michael said when Jennifer invited him. Why not? Jennifer, I'll stick out like a sore thumb. I don't have the right clothes. I don't know anyone. I don't know how to act at these things. I'll teach you and we can buy you something appropriate. With what money? A suit for an event like this costs more than 2 months of my salary. I could... No. Michael was firm. I won't let you buy clothes for me. Why not? Couples help each other. They help. They don't support. If I can't afford my own clothes, I shouldn't go. Michael, you're being stubborn. I'm being consistent. They argued about it for 2 hours without reaching an agreement. Jennifer couldn't understand why Michael wouldn't accept her financial help. Michael couldn't explain that accepting would feel like admitting he was with her for the money. In the end, Jennifer went to the wedding alone, leaving Michael hurt and insecure. During the reception, she realized how out of place she felt without him. The comments from acquaintances about his absence bothered her deeply. "Where's your new boyfriend?" asked Samantha, her friend. "I heard he's an ordinary guy." "He couldn't make it," Jennifer replied curtly. "Oh, I get it." "Oh, these events aren't for everyone, I suppose." "What do you mean by that?" "Nothing much. It's just people like us are used to a certain standard. It must be hard for him to adjust." Jennifer was irritated by the remarks, but deep down, she started wondering if Michael had been right not to go. He really would have been uncomfortable, and she'd have spent the whole night worrying about him. The following Monday, Jennifer waited for Michael after his shift. She was determined to resolve things between them. "We need to talk," she said when she saw him leaving work. "About what?" "About Saturday. About us. About the problems we're having." They went to a nearby park and sat on a bench. Michael, I get why you didn't want to go to the wedding. You do? Yes, you'd have been uncomfortable and I'd have been too busy worrying about you to enjoy myself. And that bothers you? It made me think. About what? About how much our social differences really complicate things. Michael's chest tightened. Are you trying to break up with me? I don't know, Jennifer admitted. I'm confused. Jennifer, if you have doubt, everyone keeps telling me I'm making a mistake. My parents, my friends, even people who barely know me have something to say. And you believe them? I don't know what to believe anymore. I just know we're fighting over things that never used to be problems. What kind of things? Money, social events, class differences. Before we met, these things didn't exist for us. They did. You just didn't notice because you lived in a bubble. And now you're facing reality. And you have. To decide if you can handle it. Jennifer was silent for a few minutes. Michael, answer me honestly. What? Can you make me happy living on a garbage collector's salary? Can you give me the life I want? What life do you want, Jennifer? I don't even know anymore. Then how can I answer? Do you think you can? Michael let out a deep sigh. Jennifer, I can give you love, affection, loyalty, companionship. I can share dreams with you, stand by you in hard times, build a family. But I can't give you luxury, expensive trips, jewelry, designer clothes. If those things matter to you, then no. I can't make you happy. What if I say it's not important? You need to be sure, because once you let go of these things, there's no going back. Not from my side. What do you mean? I won't accept you supporting me or your parents funding our life. If we stay together, it'll be on my salary, our ability, our effort. Even if that means living with hardships. Even if it means living with hardships. Jennifer felt a tear roll down her face. Why does it have to be so complicated? Because life is complicated, especially when people from different worlds fall in love. Do you regret meeting me? Never, Michael said firmly. Even if it ends today, I'll never regret it. You showed me I could feel real love. And now? Now you decide. Do you want to try building a simple life with me? Or do you want to go back to your world of luxury and comfort? Can I have some time to think? You can, but not too long. This uncertainty is hurting both of us. Jennifer spent a week without speaking to Michael, reflecting on everything they had discussed. During that time, she returned to her normal routine. Dinners at expensive restaurants, social events, shopping at designer boutiques. But she felt empty. None of it made sense without Michael. The conversations were shallow, the people seemed fake, the luxury felt unnecessary. That Thursday, she had a revelation while in an ultra-expensive boutique buying a dress that cost more than Michael's monthly salary. She looked in the mirror and saw herself as an empty person, buying unnecessary things to fill an emotional void. She left the store without buying anything and drove straight to Michael's apartment. It was late afternoon and he had just come home from work, sweaty and tired. Jennifer, he said, surprised to see her. I need to talk to you. Of course, let me just take a shower. No need. I want to talk to you just like this. What do you mean? Like this. Real. Sweaty. Tired. In your work clothes. I want the real Michael. They sat in the living room while Mrs. Ruth prepared coffee in the kitchen. I've made my decision, Jennifer said. And what is it? I want to stay with you. I want to try building a life together, even with all the hardships. Michael's heart raced. Are you sure? I am. This week without you made me realize that everything I have means nothing if I don't have you to share it with. Jennifer, do you understand what this means? It means we'll live in a rented apartment. I won't be able to buy expensive clothes. We'll have to save to travel, and maybe I'll have to work to help with our income. And you're okay with that? I am. In fact, I'm excited about it. Why? Because for the first time I'll build something with my own effort. I'll discover who I really am when I can't just buy whatever I want. Michael hugged her tightly. I love you, Jennifer. I love you too, Michael. Mrs. Ruth came out of the kitchen with the coffee and found them embracing. Can I know what's happening? Mrs. Ruth, Jennifer said, I'm asking for your blessing to seriously date your son." "My blessing?" Ruth smiled, moved. "Sweetheart, you have all my blessing. But are you both sure about what you're doing?" "We are," Michael answered. "It won't be easy, but we'll try." "Then God bless you," Ruth hugged them, "and you can count on me for whatever you need." In the following months, Jennifer and Michael faced many challenges. Jennifer's family took time to accept the relationship. Some friends drifted away, and they had to deal with judgmental looks and comments in many places. But they also discovered joys Jennifer had never experienced before. She learned to cook, shop at local markets, and save money. Michael taught her how to ride the bus, enjoy free city events, and find joy in simple things. Jennifer began working more actively in the family business, taking on real responsibilities instead of just attending meetings. She discovered she had a talent for management and started implementing changes that significantly improved the company's profits. Michael, motivated by their relationship, intensified his studies and began looking for better job opportunities. He made connections in the field of public administration and started applying for competitive positions. After 8 months together, Michael passed a civil service exam for an administrative analyst role in the city government. The salary was 3 times higher than that of a garbage collector, and he finally felt he was progressing professionally on his own merit. "I did it," he shouted, hugging Jennifer when he got the results. "I got the promotion." "I knew you could do it," she said, emotional. "You studied so hard for this. Now I can offer you a slightly better life." "Michael, you've always given me everything I needed, but I'm so happy you achieved this." With their improved financial situation, they were able to rent a nicer apartment in a neighborhood that was a middle ground between Jennifer's world and Michael's. It was a compromise that worked well for both. Jennifer discovered she enjoyed the simpler life. She cooked for Michael, took care of their home, and got involved in the neighborhood. She befriended the neighbors, helped with local social campaigns, and felt more useful and fulfilled than ever. Their relationship grew stronger through adversity. Every obstacle they overcame brought them closer. They learned to talk about money, without arguing, to make decisions together, and to support each other in tough times. 2 years after they met, Michael proposed to Jennifer. It was a simple proposal at home during a dinner she had prepared. He didn't have money for an expensive ring, but he had saved for months to buy a modest yet beautiful solitaire. "Jennifer," he said after dinner, "these 2 years have been the best of my life." "Mine too. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to build a family, face challenges together, and share our joys. Will you marry me?" "Yes," she answered without hesitation. "Of course I will." The wedding was a celebration that blended their 2 worlds. The reception was held in the ballroom of Jennifer's family hotel, but with simple decorations and an uncomplicated buffet. Both the business associates from the Wilson family and Michael's garbage collector colleagues were present, creating an interesting and harmonious mix. William Wilson, who had learned to respect Michael over the years, gave an emotional speech. "When my daughter first brought Michael home, I'll admit I was worried, not because of who he was, but because of the challenges they'd face. Today, 2 years later, I can say I was wrong. Michael didn't just win my daughter's heart, he earned our respect and admiration. He proved that character matters more than money, that love matters more than social status." Ruth Johnson, Michael's mother, was also moved. "My son has always been special, hardworking, honest, dedicated. But with Jennifer, he learned to dream bigger. She made him believe he deserved good things in life, and he taught her that the best things in life can't be bought." After the wedding, Jennifer and Michael settled into a life that was a balance between their 2 worlds. She continued working in the family business, but with a more human and social perspective. She implemented corporate social responsibility programs, improved employee working conditions, and began investing in community projects. Michael advanced professionally, and after 2 more years, he secured a coordinator position in the city government's urban planning department. He used his experience as a garbage collector to propose improvements to the city's cleaning system, always keeping the workers' dignity in mind. 3 years after the wedding, the couple's first child, Matthew, was born. The baby's arrival brought even more unity to the family. Jennifer discovered a fulfillment in motherhood she had never imagined, and Michael proved to be a devoted and loving father. "Look at him," Jennifer said, watching Michael play with Matthew on the living room floor. "Our son will grow up knowing the value of honest work and simplicity. And he'll also grow up knowing he can dream big," Michael replied. "What matters is that he becomes a person of character." Mrs. Ruth, who had moved to a nearby apartment to help with her grandson, watched the family with joy. "You've proven that true love overcomes any difference," she said. "Matthew is growing up in a home full of love and the right values." William and Catherine Wilson also adapted to the new reality. William even offered Michael a partnership in the company, which he accepted this time, but only after proving his competence in social responsibility and people management. "Michael has innovative ideas for our hotels," William remarked to Catherine. "He understands both the business and the human side of things. And most importantly," Catherine replied, "he's made our daughter truly happy. She's radiant, fulfilled, complete." 5 years after the wedding, Jennifer was pregnant with their second child when she reflected on her journey with Michael. "Do you regret anything?" Michael asked as they strolled through the park where they'd eaten hot dogs on their second date. "Not a thing," she answered without hesitation. "Every hardship, every sacrifice, every moment of doubt was worth it. Even giving up so much luxury. Michael, I didn't give up luxury. I gained something far more valuable. A life with purpose, true love, a close-knit family. That's priceless. And I gained a woman who made me believe I could be more than I ever imagined," Michael said, kissing her tenderly. "Our children will grow up knowing love overcomes any difference," Jennifer said, caressing her belly. "And they'll grow up knowing that with hard work and dedication, they can achieve any dream." When their second child was born, a girl they named Ruth in honor of her grandmother, the family was fully settled and happy. They lived in an upper-middle-class home, had a comfortable but not showy life, and above all had built something solid based on love, respect, and shared values. Jennifer looked at her life and felt completely fulfilled. In Michael's love, she had found a happiness no money could buy, and Michael had discovered he deserved to be loved for who he was, not what he owned. Their story became well known in the local community, inspiring others to believe true love could overcome any social difference. It wasn't a fairy tale, but a real story of two people who chose to fight for what they felt, facing prejudice and hardships to build a life together. "Do you think our story will inspire others?" Jennifer asked Michael one night as they watched their children sleep. "I think our story shows it's worth fighting for true love," Michael replied, "no matter the difficulties. And that differences can be overcome with mutual respect. And most of all," Michael smiled, "happiness lies in life's simple things. Family, love, honesty, meaningful work." Jennifer nestled into her husband's arms, feeling completely whole. She had discovered that true wealth wasn't in the money she'd inherited, but in the love she'd built with Michael and the family they'd created together. Years later, when they told their story to their children, it always ended the same way. True love doesn't care about social class, color, religion, or financial situation, Jennifer would say. When two people truly love each other and are willing to fight together, they can overcome any obstacle. And the most important thing, Michael would add, is never being ashamed of who you are. Whether you're rich or poor, what matters is having character, honesty, and a generous heart. The end of the story. Now tell us, do you believe love can overcome social differences? Did Jennifer make the right choice in choosing Michael? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Thank you so much for joining us on this heartfelt journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more touching stories.